Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally, and today I have 3 Trash to Treasure frames for you, and I will be using IOD transfers. If you're new, you'll see a lot of crafts, furniture flips, great dump hauls, and trash to treasures on this channel. Item number 1 is a frame that I got at the dump a few months back. I got a pair of these and they have beautiful metal embossed frames, great mats, but I am just not a fan of the fruit picture. So I decided to take this apart and to give that a good cleaning. And then once everything was apart and clean, I needed something to use because the fruit pitcher was stuck to the brown back. So I came across this little IOD, really just the cover to my transfers, and it fit perfect. So I taped that on to the back and then just put the mat back on there and then went to the IOD transfers. Now I thought these sunflowers would be beautiful with this frame. It already has a brownish and goldish tint to it, and it really lends itself to these colors. So I wanted to do, and I hadn't used them yet. So I am going ahead here and I am just taking the tool that it came with and transferring on. Now, the placement of this is completely up to you. If you want to layer them on top of one another, they layer very well. This IOD transfer comes with lavender and pink roses. You could do an entire garden instead of all one flower. There's any number of things you could do. You could add a bird from a different transfer, mix and match them. So that is the beauty of using these transfers. There's no two that come out alike. You can put the items the way that you want them. So once I had an idea of how I wanted to lay them out, I just used the tool, obviously, that it came with and transferred them on, lift that off, and then I just kept doing that over and over until I had the way that I wanted it. Now, here, it got a little tricky because I knew that I liked that 3D look. I wanted the stem under the mat, but I wanted part of the sunflower to go over the mat. I don't see people do this very often. And I found here it's easier to just cut the piece that you have laid down and keep the other one off. Make sure that I get the mat completely shifted where I need it and then lay it down. I love the 3D effect that it gives to have it looks like someone painted on top of the mat as well as the picture itself. I just really like that look, and I thought that it would really lend itself to this, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different. I know that you have seen people use these IOD transfers in any number of ways, and try to come up with a different idea each time so that you're not looking at people do the same thing over and over and over. Now, again, you do want to use the plastic or your hand or something just to kind of burnish that down just a little bit. Now, you don't have to do anything with a picture because it has glass over it. You don't have to spray it. You don't have to wax it. You don't have to do anything with it. Once you're done, you can just put it back in the frame and it's finished. But if you are having it on a piece of wood or some other item, you would have to wax or polyurethane. Now, once I got it back in the frame and put it against, the wall, I loved the sunflower. I love the 3D effect. I love the brown with the frame, but I felt like it made the frame look dingy, dark. It just didn't have the gold popping out like I wanted it to. So my husband happened to have this gold rub and buff stuff, which I had never used before. And honestly, it was probably a little bit dried out. I'm assuming that it is supposed to be just a tad more liquid than this one was. So it wasn't as easy to work with as a new tube would be. But I just go ahead and take my finger or the rag and I just rub it over the top, trying to get those embossed areas of the frame to pop out. After a while, I didn't really like the way that it was kind of smearing with my finger, and so I ended up going to get a stiff bristled paintbrush and using that, and I think that that gave a better effect. It is kind of going over the top, just doing a little bit better job. Once I had that done and had it fully buffed, I didn't want it to look like I had painted the frame gold. So here and there, I actually took a little bit of my antiquing wax and put a little bit of brown back in, which I do not show you on video. But if you happen to use this and you have a newer tube, I don't think you're going to have that issue. I think it's going to glide over the top nicely if you have something embossed especially, and work really, really well. So I would buy this product and I would try this again. I do believe they sell it at Hobby Lobby. I think that's where my husband got it. But I think already you can tell the gold with the sunflowers just looks so beautiful. So that is it against my gray dining room wall. Not a fan of it necessarily against gray. I think it was much prettier against cream. But I did want to show it with some other items that I had recently put together. If you saw the video I just did earlier, this past week, I had done something else here with the sunflower, this canister, and I thought it would be really pretty against this. So just displaying it together here with this, I think looks absolutely beautiful. So let me know what you think of the 3D effect of the IOD transfer. And then that takes me on to item number 2. In my recent dump haul, I showed you this long picture frame in silver. It had a bunch of crap in it that I took out and threw away. It was all wet and everything from the dump here. Cleaned it up really well and decided that I would like to use these beautiful lavender transfers, but they are not tall enough. So the nice thing about these is that you can cut them and you can use whatever portion that you need to make it work for you. And they give you a fair amount of them, so you can. I believe I have already done 5 projects at a minimum. On the floor behind me, you can see the other canister with the lavender. Above that, I have another picture, and then when I display this, I'll show you at least 3 other items that I have used these lavender transfers on, and I would say I have at least a half a sheet left. So it really is worthwhile to get the IOD transfer, especially if you can split these up in, I think by the time I'm finished, I probably will have done 20 projects for the price of this, which is probably $40. So, it's well worth it. The frame was free, came with the glass. So if I put $2 worth of, transfers in here and $1 worth of paint or less, then, I can't complain about that. So definitely economical and worthwhile. Now, once I was finished laying these out and getting them all on the glass, and by the way, if you transfer on glass with this tool, you want to be very careful not to press too hard. Obviously, I left the glass in the frame, so I have a little bit of air pocket back there, so I'm making very good sure that I don't break the glass here. I'm very, very, very careful not to press too hard. If it's your first time or you're just concerned, take the glass out and do it on a very flat surface so that you don't have to worry about potentially, breaking that glass. That would be a real bummer, especially since this is not a common size piece of glass. So again, I am just laying out the rest of the stems, finishing that. until I get the look that I'm going for. I burnished the whole thing with the plastic, and you know, you don't have to spray this because it's in glass, behind glass. If you're just going to hang it, I don't feel it's necessary with these transfers unless it's an item that is going to be handled or to be out in the elements or whatever, to really put a coat of polyurethane or wax on top of it. But if it's a piece of furniture and I know you're going to be handling it, or, you know, opening the drawers over and over again, or you're going to have to keep cleaning it, then it absolutely makes sense to either polyurethane it or wax it. So I would say most of the time I do. Now, once I was finished with this, I wanted to show you what it looks like hanging on the wall just as is. Very lovely, and that is a great look, especially against this wall color. But for me, I don't really feel like the lavender pops as much as I would like it to. So if you like it like that, you can just leave it. But for me, I wanted to, first of all, change the hanger. They were hanging this horizontally, and I needed to hang that vertically. So I went ahead and switched out the hardware that came with it. And then I took out the Rust-Oleum chalked paint in linen white and give this coat on the back of the... Now you can paint it first, let it dry, and transfer on top of your paint. I usually do that, but when it comes to glass, I like to paint the back. I like the look of that better. I feel like you don't see as many of the paint brush strokes that come with it, and obviously then you don't have to do anything to the front of the picture, and you can wash it gently. But now I will have to polyurethane or spray something on the back of the chalked paint so that it doesn't ever get scratched. So once I can have a chance, I'll take that outside and spray the back of that. And here it is. Let me know if you can tell the difference with the white paint and if it even makes any difference. I mean, maybe it looks the same to you. I just happen to like the look of the white. I think it made the lavender pop a little bit better. And that takes me on to item number 3. Now, 3 is the same as 1. This is the second one of those. One was pears and this one is plums or something. So I took the IOD transfer from that same pack, and rather than show you the whole thing all over again, I did that same thing. I used the roses, and I did exactly what I had done with the sunflowers, taking it apart, cleaning it, laying them out, and then making sure that I very gently transferred not just the picture, but also onto the mat. And then here is that beautiful metal frame with the pretty flowers in it. I took the rub and buff to that as well. And here it is finished. It's a little dark in this room. This is in my living room, so I didn't get as nice of a picture, I don't think, with the finished one here, but just giving you an idea of how that looks. I absolutely love these flowers. They look so real. IOD does an amazing job. It's well worth the money to get these transfers. So here they are together. I could have done one horizontal and one vertical. I think that would have been an interesting way to do it as well. So if you would like to support my channel, here's 5 different ways you can. And I appreciate your stopping by. I will see you in the next one. Take care.